Hello everyone, welcome back to Dev Dive Side Table. It's me, it's Steve, I'm back, and I'm here with a very cool guest, a very magical guest indeed. With me this show is Wisardly, the creator of That's Wizard, which has launched, it's live, it's out there right now on Kickstarter, and kicking butt, if I do say so myself. Wisardly, welcome to the show. How have you been?
Thank you so much, Steve. It's been great. As you said, a successful launch, so that's one less thing to worry about these days.
Yeah, us. I mean, I had no doubts when we met at PAX East, and Matt, who is also he co-hosts the show every once in a while with me, big tabletop gaming fan. He kind of has been the one over the years to like push me to do a more tabletop oriented version of the show. And it just makes sense to do it at this point because, I mean, I'm entrenched in it now too. But we came across the game, this humble little booth. You had, I think, 1 or 2 copies of the game. We got to sit behind the little curtain. We had the cool copy of the game there. And it took us about 10 minutes to learn. And we just kind of played like 2 or 3 rounds. And we were inspired as we were sitting in the hotel room. We were like, I think That's Wizard is getting like tabletop game of show, like, or at least most anticipated for us. So yeah, it definitely left a lasting impression. And knowing that you were using PAX to build interest in a future Kickstarter, I knew right away that when this thing launched on Kickstarter this time around, it was going to meet whatever goals that you set for it. So congratulations on that. And congratulations on developing a really cool little system here. For those who don't know what That's Wizard is, why don't you give us the rundown?
Sure. And thanks for those kind words. That really means a lot to me.
Absolutely.
I love hearing that. So That's Wizard is a 2 or 4 player card game. It's about dueling wizards, if you didn't guess by the title. And the unique mechanic of That's Wizard is going to be the simultaneous action. So, I grew up playing all sorts of TCGs. I played Hearthstone a bit competitively for a bit. Magic the Gathering,
okay.
I've been there.
All right.
But the interesting thing about That's Wizard is that you're both picking a card from your hand and setting the amount of power that you want to contribute towards it. So think of power as like your mana. And the more power you put into the spell card that you're putting in, the more powerful the effect. But as you both reveal at the same time, whoever has the lower number on their spell power dial, as we call it, they get to take their turn first. So turn order is resolved that the weaker spells are quicker than the more powerful slow spells. So they take a long time to like charge up.
It's a cat. They're longer incantation, if you're putting your mind in the wizard. Yeah.
Exactly.
No, it works.
My design goal was to kind of capture that fast-paced like wizard duel of people taking wands and like throwing spells at each other furiously and fast, and you never really don't have time to think. It's like the other games that I've played, like they have their place, and I still play them to this day, but it's a different feeling of like you take your turn, I take my turn, I react and stuff like that. And this one is like you build your spell book, which is the cards in your hand. It's only 7, and there is a design reason for that. Is that the less cards you have, like compared to like a 60 card deck in Magic, the more you're going to memorize what the other person has, and these cards come back to your hand after you play them. There's no shuffling or drawing in this game, as you remember. So you're going to be seeing the same cards over the course of a duel, and then you're just going to be worried about like, well, I know what they have, but when are they going to play it? And everyone has the ability to kind of block a spell with something called counterspell, and it chips away at your own stamina, which is what we call health in our system. So it's not without cost. So like it comes down to this like really psychological tension in the game of, do I think they're going to do something really nasty this turn? Were they saving a spell that I haven't seen yet? Stuff like that. And to add on top of that, the format of the game is played best 2 out of 3. And each game you're taking 2 of your spells and putting them down as a sideboard that you're not playing. And that increases the dramatic tension a lot, because let's say you win the first game with something incredibly powerful, your opponent's going to be wondering, did they still have it in the second match? Did they put it in their sideboard? And so like it's I know that you know that I know sort of game.
Yeah.
So
that's
the design goal.
It's got a little bit of like a liar's dice or something like that. It's like it's got this gamble mechanic where it's risk reward, right? Like you know that everyone has, you know that your opponent is going to have the counterspell. And of course, we only played the 2-player duel version of this. I'm very interested to see what it's like playing in the you know, 4-person arena, as it were. But keeping track of what the opponent has done or will do or all that is like only one very small facet of it, because you do have, again, you did mention the timing mechanic, right? Like, so there's the less you spend, the faster you get off your spell effect. And some of those cards are specific to going first or second or whatever. Like they have a chain of command, as it were. And there's nothing worse than putting all your eggs in a basket and then that player having that dinky little counterspell come out. And then you're like, dang it. And you just whittle away and whittle away. You have your wheel of mana. You have your wheel or your stamina. I think it's a counter, or like a marker, if I remember correctly, on the board.
Yeah, we have a player board that keeps track.
Yeah. Seeing it whittle down, seeing, you know, what your opponent is fiddling around with his wheel and doing your 3-2, and you're just kind of like, okay, is he moving his thumbs? All right, maybe he's not moving his thumbs. Maybe he's just pretending he's moving his thumbs. Okay, I think he moved his thumbs around the wheel once. So now we're back to low numbers, and you're like, you're literally like, it's almost like fiddling with a wand. Like you were watching your wizard fiddle with his wand, and like, okay, what?
Oh, I never thought of that.
What little spell is he drawing in the palm of his hand, kind of thing, and like setting himself up for. It's just so simple. Like I hate to say it, because I feel like the word simple is reductive, but it's not meant to be reductive. It's simple in its rules and how you grasp what your action economy and what you're supposed to do each turn is. But every time you see the result of a round, it completely changes how you're thinking of the entire game. Even when you know, after playing one or two cards and you're like, okay, I just put all of my, I just came out and just went crazy. And there's also, if I remember correctly, there's a mechanic, if you like overuse your mana, you take like some stamina penalties, if I remember correctly. I don't remember off the top of my head.
You might be thinking of a spell called Stun, which can remove the other person's power, and if you remove more than they had left, it turns into damage.
Yes, that's what it was. So like, there's also that mechanic where it's like, okay, I'm gonna use my stun card and try and mess around with you on that. There's also, if I remember correctly, there are cards that are more powerful if you have lower stamina, right? Like there's one of those as well.
Absolutely right.
With that in mind, do you have like wizard archetypes in mind of like, okay, this is the which type of archetype that like is sacrificing their essence to cast more powerful spells or something like that? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
So, you know, part of the game is also building your spell book, those 7 cards that start in your hands. And when you sat down for PAX East, we had pre-made decks with little characters on the back, so that people could look, you know, at a character, kind of get a feel for, okay, this is the Dark Lord. It must be like a lot of evil spells. So we built them so that people could sit down and have a good time without doing the deck building part. But I actually really like the deck building part a lot, because there's 7 different schools of magic, and there's 4 levels in each of those 7 schools. And when you pick out your 7 spells to be in your hand, if you want to take the level 4 from the curses school of magic, you know, the dark evil kind of stuff, you need to take the 1, 2, 3, and 4 in that school of magic. So it's like you kind of specialized into that school. And that creates another layer of meta for the game, is that if you've been playing it for a while and somebody comes right out the gate and they play Embrace Pain, that's a level 3 curse, they've just given away information to an experienced player that they also have Explosion and Paralyze, which are the level 2 and 1 kind of curse. So those are the archetypes that exist in the game, is these different schools of magic. And you could specialize to get a level 4, which they're situationally powerful. So I want to say that they're just better, because actually the level 1 spells are generically good all the time. They have low cost.
I was just going to say that. Good. Yeah, I was just going to say that, because Paralyze was such a pain in the ass. Like getting paralyzed, you're just like, all right, cool. That was a huge waste of my damn time. I think that is one of the and I don't mean to cut you off, but I want to like reiterate that just because there's these 4 levels in a school, to the future player, the future wizards out there, those level 1s, and I would really say the level 1s are kind of the scariest ones, in my opinion. Like sometimes it can be very difficult to get off a level 4, to like combo that appropriately, where you have the appropriate either stamina or mana to get that off. So when you see that level 3 come out, you could kind of play in your head, okay, I know that these 4s are pretty damn hard to get out. You may know that, one school of Magic, that level 4 comes out in certain circumstances. So, okay, I could avoid this circumstance if I play X next turn. But does the other wizard know that if I play that card, then it'll stop them from playing that other card? So it just keeps going into this game of chicken to see who's going to blink first.
Absolutely.
And I think you did a really, really good job at making those lower level cards worth having, as opposed to them just being fodder to get to, the big blast at the expense of your resources.
Yeah, and I don't know if I mentioned this too when we've spoken before, but this game has been in development for 9 years. And that's the exact reason why, is like figuring out which card goes into what school of Magic so that one's not more powerful, balancing all the cards, because it's not a digital game that I can release a patch and be like, oh, this card needs to be nerfed, right?
Yeah.
And this isn't like a collectible game like Magic where they can immediately release like a errata and just be like, oh, you know what, this card's going to play different than what the text says. This was my one chance to basically say, I'm a small indie creator, I wanted to really really nail it right, so we play tested the heck out of this game.
Yeah, I mean, it shows. It felt like I was in school a little bit. Like I was learning how to think different. I was learning how to like anticipate and learn a new language, which is weird to say because it's like, I'm not really, guys, dolls out there, everyone, you're not a real wizard, these aren't real spells you're slinging across. But I felt like I was like, okay, this school of, all right, so I have to, man, but if he does that, then I'm gonna, okay. And then I think you had a timer, if or that might have just been us saying we're going to give ourselves a timer because we had an appointment. So I think we were just like, okay, we can't spend all day.
That's right. You
deciding what we were going to do. So that also added that to it. I could see, and I'm not going to ask you to divulge all of these little behind the scenes secrets and all that stuff and your future plans, but I could see this expanding in some ways, other schools of Magic, or a 5th level of whatever, or or alternate first level spells in a school. Like I could see this being continuing to grow, maybe not at a trading card game level, right? Like, but more of just simple expansion, like every once in a while come out with something new for people, for our future wizards out there and our current wizards and our gray beards and Gandalf the Whites out there that want to sling spells at each other. Yeah,
and honestly, we've done that already. So with the launch of the Kickstarter, we included promotional spells. So it's 1 new spell for each school of Magic, so 7, and then 2 for each of the players, because the box comes with all the cards. It's not collectible.
Yep.
And then these represent alternates of those different spells. And the rule book actually states specifically you can't take 2 of the same school in the same level. So it's like you kind of have to choose one or the other.
Yeah.
And that increases the replayability a lot, because now at least you're if somebody played that level 4 spell early or something, but that there's possibly 2 level 3s right below that because the promo cards that you're playing with, it's like, well, now I'm not exactly sure. So
yeah,
it increases a lot of tension that way, because now you're worried about a little bit more cards, but not so many that you can't keep track of.
Yeah,
that was one of my goals, is that people can sit down, play for the first time, and the only thing they have to keep track of is the 7 cards in the other person's hand and the ones that they have. And that's not too much of an ask. I find most people walk away like knowing exactly how they'd play it again, and it all comes down to just guessing what that other person was going to do.
Yeah, it will definitely add a little, and for the most part, I mean, everything's in the box, right? So it's not like you're going to show up to you know, a game night and your friend is going to have a card you don't have. And you're going to be like, oh, dang. Like, where'd you get that? Where'd you get that cool Exodius? I don't know. I've never played Yu-Gi-Oh before. But yeah, it's like you kind of mitigate that by having this ready to play out of the box complete experience, as it were.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which I appreciate so much. There are a couple of games that I have here that do that, and it's just so wonderful. Some of them are a little big, but it's okay. But just having the opportunity to take all of the one thing and just say, hey, friend, here's the whole thing. Like, we don't have to go to the store and see if we can get you. Like, I remember as a kid, and I was a big Pokemon fan, and I actually really liked playing the Pokemon card game. Like, I was big into the card game, like high school and even into college. And I remember, like, if you were getting somebody new started, you know, you had that stack of energy cards, but then, like, somebody threw away all their energy cards because they have too many. And then your friend comes over and wants to learn. You're like, oh, shit. Well, okay, I guess you could use one of my decks. Let me teach you how I built my deck. But part of the fun is building the deck. So then you have to take out your old cards. Be like, here's the sleeves. And here's, okay, so, oh, dang, I only have 7 lightning energy for some reason left. But okay, I'll pull them out of this deck and put it's in the box. Pick your wizard spell.
That's what I was going for.
School,
because
and
I lived through the same thing.
Yeah,
Steve, honestly, like I've loved all those games. I have boxes and boxes of cards behind me somewhere.
Yeah.
I'll never stop loving those. But I wanted to give something that's like, you know, it's a fast game too, right?
Yeah.
Like this, I think you probably play your match in under 30 minutes because you had to get somewhere. At
Yeah,
max.
way. We played more than just the one match though. We did a little bit more. We did the best of 3, and then I think we did a second best of 3. I think we did that.
It plays real fast, and it's a lot of fun because of the person you're playing with.
Yeah,
I find.
Yeah, totally. Looking behind you, it is blurry, but do I see Dominion?
Oh yeah,
Dominion Seafarers or whatever it's called. Not Seafarer, Dominion. Yeah, I don't know where all my Dominions went. They disappeared. I think I lent them to a friend and forgot. But I think I see Dice Throne back there too. Or is that no? That's is that Dice Throne?
Nope, I don't have that one up there. I've got a bunch of Dominions.
Fire Tower. Do I see Fire
Tower?
Yeah,
yes.
That's what it is then. I know I recognize the logo over there. No, great stuff. And that again speaks to it. Like Dominion is like, to me, it's like one of the perfect, just complete games in a box that you could expand upon, right? Like you just have different cards that add slightly different mechanics. But it doesn't really change the game at all. I like the way that game does it better, than like a Catan that adds like these completely new mechanics that can kind of change how you play the game
so much. Yeah. Right. Yep.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So let's talk a bit about your Kickstarter, because you had launched about, what is that? About a week ago, I want to say.
A week ago, yeah.
About a week ago.
And a day, actually.
You were funded pretty damn quickly. Yep. I think it was, what was it, 29 hours? 2 hours. Okay, I got it mixed up.
2 hours, yeah.
2 hours?
2 hours.
Heck yeah.
Yep.
Heck yeah. You have smashed your goal. You're more than double your goal. You're approaching triple your goal at this point. Correct me if I'm wrong. Did you had a Kickstarter that didn't meet its goal first? Is that correct?
Yes, I launched at a very inopportune time in 2020, which we all remember what happened then.
Yeah.
So it was ill-timed because getting things into shipping containers was nearly impossible. Like the shipping containers were going like one direction, so then it was like $30,000 to ship something in the opposite direction. Yeah. And of course, nobody can afford that when like your manufacturing cost is like a fraction of that. It makes no sense. So kind of put that on hold. And I got a lot of great feedback during the Kickstarter as well, because a lot of people were asking back then, could this also be a 4-player game? So when I took a break, waiting for shipping costs to come down, I said, you know what? Before I relaunch this, I'm going to go back to the playtesting groups that I'm a part of and make this a 4-player game, because it was challenging. Because if you just allow like all the players to like dogpile on one person, you've seen how powerful some of the spells are in the game. It would last 2 or 3 rounds, right? It's not fun. So we came up with a system where the 4-player version is like you're sitting across from somebody that is, quote, your opponent. Any card that says, deal damage to your opponent, you're doing that. But all 4 of you are still taking turn order simultaneously. And we've introduced some new cards that are for 4-player only that have occasional cross-table effects. So I have one
Interesting.
called
Okay.
Molten Floor, where it says at the end of the next round, so it takes a little while to get going, both opponents take a certain amount of damage. So that other person who technically you're not really fighting, your ally is fighting that person. You can kind of plan things with your ally. You show them like, oh, I'm going to plan this, I'm going to do that. So you can kind of combo things off of your ally. You can, give some of your life to your ally. You can give some of your power. There's all sorts of interesting new cards that are replacements for some of the spells that are already in there, and that's how we kind of figured it out. And then after one person defeats the other in this 4-player match, that team is going to get a star. And then you're going to swap seats. So now you're fighting someone new. You're fighting the person who was sitting diagonally from you.
Mm-hmm.
And the first team to collect 3 stars is going to win. So you might actually even have like a sudden death match. If each team got 2 stars, then you might have to do like a sudden death kind of thing to get that 3rd star. So we tested that for another couple of years, and that's why it's been a couple of years since we originally launched in 2020, and now it's 2025 already. But it was worth it. I think that it delivered a much better product because the 4-player is a lot of fun. We also refined some of the components. We shrunk everything down to be in a smaller box and therefore more affordable to manufacture. And then we passed those savings on to the customer. So, it was just good all around to kind of wait and, take those lessons learned from the first time. And now here we are.
Sure. And you, just speaking of lessons from the first time, obviously there was a little sweet spot where it wasn't hell on earth to get things manufactured and imported into the country. We're unfortunately out of that sweet spot again. But in your experience, kind of figuring that out in this current climate, importing climate, what sort of takeaways do you have from kind of trying to navigate that as far as like getting your Kickstarter, making sure your Kickstarter is at an appropriate monetary value so that you don't get crushed as things, as far as manufacturing goes, wherever you're importing it from? Where, did you have to go to different countries to try and make things, make sense for you financially? Like, tell me a little bit about that process.
Yeah. In fact, when you were at PAX playing the game, we weren't sure when we would launch Kickstarter technically, because at the time tariffs were 145% import from, the really popular manufacturers, Panda and Longpack, which is my manufacturer. All the big ones are over in that country. 145% meant that, indie people like myself, 0% chance we're funding that. Like, that's an insane amount of money to pay in just taxes. And so, we just couldn't raise that. Not to mention the price to the customer would then have to increase by so much that I myself didn't want to do that. So we're actually right after, I think it was the Monday after PAX East, they announced, some negotiations, things came down. They said they were going to be 30%. I did the calculations. I figured out I can afford 30% if it stays that way, but I don't know how long it's going to stay that way. So it's a little bit atypical. What I actually did was manufacture the game itself right then and there, fully paid for. And then Kickstarter is kind of raising funds for the add-ons that we're trying to do. So we have like a mini little expansion. We have amazing neoprene playmats, and we have what my favorite part is like this spell book. It's like a binder for your cards. So you have like 4 up. That way, each school of magic has its own page.
Yeah.
It's made out of like, faux leather. It's like embossed. It's incredible. I thought, a wizard game needs a spell book. So that's was kind of the funding part of Kickstarter, was to finish, the idea we had. But at minimum, I wanted to get it, over to those manufacturers and say, look, while tariffs are not crazy, let's get it in there so that at least I can pass that on to a reasonable price, even if I'm just selling the game without all those add-ons. That was my goal.
So just to clarify for my dumb idiot brain, your Kickstarter, you manufactured your base game ahead of time.
Yeah.
How did you procure the funding for that leg of the journey?
My savings.
My
bank account's not too happy about
so that's
it,
something that's important that I think consumers and fans of the genre, or just consumers of especially Kickstarter board games, that's important to understand that the decisions going into a Kickstarter campaign, regardless of what you're reading on the page or how you're interpreting what you're reading on the page of what your money is getting you, especially the smaller developers, this is kind of ride or die. This is like everything that you have, you're putting into this.
Yep.
Like, and it's not hyperbole. It's not like, I've interviewed, I don't know, 400 video game developers, and many of them kickstart their stuff. Many of them, use their savings. I've had a married couple take out a mortgage on their home to fund their game. All kinds of stuff. And you'll go into, or you'll see in a forum or on Reddit, and people just talking about the game like, did the devs even care? This game, why does this wall do whatever? And you're just like, oh, because guys, it's a husband and wife who took out a $120,000 mortgage.
Yeah.
Outsourcing their art because neither of them, or whatever it is. And it's like, they poured absolutely everything they have into this, and you're mad that the sword clips into the wall. Like, what do we, like, can you think about what's happening? Like, think about the human beings. That's why we do the show, by the way. Think about the human beings that are making the games. It's not all EA, which is now Saudi owned. It's not all these mega billion-dollar corporations that are just, have a whiteboard and they go, well, let's allocate 30 million so that we can get the motion capture of the smile on the face guy. It's not all like that. Like, to make your dream become a reality, you can't rely on somebody else. You're wholly reliant on yourself. And I think people need to understand that it doesn't just come out of nowhere. It's not free. It's not, the Kickstarter isn't just so that you can make your game. It's so that you could continue to make your game.
Absolutely.
Like you said, you started this like over 5 years or 9 years ago. What?
Yeah.
You didn't do that for free. that wasn't a free 9 years. It's
certainly not.
You're not just plugging away like, happy go lucky and like, I don't know. It's just, so if you're out there and you're consuming these games and have an understanding of actually who's making them, and check out our show. So, because we could tell you, we show you, we tell you, we bring the people on to tell you, look right in front of you. It's wonderful. You get to know people.
I appreciate that message.
I'll get off my soapbox now. Yeah. I just think it's very important. And it's a lost piece of the puzzle, I think, when it comes to this industry that we love so much.
Yeah. It's hard to break into, something where you have giants that can outcompete you in advertising. And I've seen, I play test all these different games. So I'm part of many different groups. Shout out to Game Makers Guild over in Boston. They're an amazing group. They do play tests all the time, lots of different locations. And I play so many amazing games that I almost always walk away from a session with at least one game in mind, saying like, why can't I buy this right now? That's how good it is.
That's how I was when I walked away from your table. I don't think you understand how upset I was when I walked away from your table without the game in my hand. Like, I told him, I was like, I want to play that. I want to just go over to the tables in the back of PAX, and I just want to sit down and I just want to play that. I just want to play that game.
I appreciate that.
I look forward to that. I look forward to PAX and PAX Unplugged. I will be at PAX Unplugged this year. I'm looking so forward to meeting more people in the industry and playing some new upcoming games. And I have lowered my expectations of how many games I'm going to take home. Okay. I've done that. I've learned my lesson.
One of those big square backpacks that like fill just 30 games?
I don't. So what I do is I make a lot of appointments to see games because I want to meet the people behind them to get people on this show. My goal is not to buy games. It's never to buy games, but I always bring an empty suitcase. because you never know, and I just leave it at the hotel or the room.
Yep.
And every day I might go back home with a little, to the hotel with a little game. I'll open it up. Yep. Matt will be with me this year at PAX Unplugged, so come meet us in November. And we'll try out some new games that we picked up, and if a creator is gracious enough to let us have one, we'll always play it and give our thoughts on it on the Indie Rift podcast, etc. So there's a lot of that, but when we started covering PAX, it was obviously for video games. Like that's how Indie Rift started, as dual screens. Eventually, in the very beginning, it was Nintendo dual screens. It was a Nintendo podcast, and then we had a developer on the show to just talk about Nintendo and their game coming to the Switch. And it was the developers behind Dundara, which was a fantastic Metroidvania, just an absolutely beautiful Metroidvania game, plays with like physics really incredibly. And we realized, oh snap, like this is a Brazilian team of like 6 people who got funding from like their government to make this game, and they are putting their first game for the first time in the world on a Nintendo console. And that's like a crazy story. That's like a crazy story.
That's so cool.
So every time we go to PAX now, and this kind of brings me to, when we met you, the first PAX I went to, it was always about, I want to go see like these crazy big games that I've heard of. And you go and you're speaking to somebody, and I'm like, so like what went into like this choice, or how did you come up to this? And they're like, I'm just a hired PR guy. Like I have no idea what you're talking about.
Right, yeah.
And you're like, shit, that's right. And so then we started to like take appointments for more indie games. And so then we became only indie games. We like just fell in love with like that scene. And that's sort of what happened. Like we would meet somebody and I'd shake their hand. They have like 2 people working their little booth. They have maybe 2 screens, and they're super passionate and they're telling me everything about their game. And I'm like, oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. And I'm like, so what do you do? What's your role? And they're like, I'm the programmer. I'm the artist. I did the animations. I did the music. I'm doing PR. I was like, so who are those people? I was like, those are my friends. They just helped me. They just took the 1600 mile road trip so that I could show the game off in Boston. Like, and you're just like, what? This whole world
that was my crew at
exists.
PAX East too. It was like, my great friends came out to help, run the booth, because I can't do it by myself.
Yeah.
But it was I'm the special unicorn that does everything, the graphic design, the website, everything about this project, videos, advertising. I've learned it all over the last 9 years. So like I've added a lot of skills to my skill set, and I've loved every step of the way. I remember I went to PAX East, not this year, obviously. I was demoing, but the year before, I got to sit down with some indie developers playing computer games. And you're absolutely right. Like the experience of just being able to ask them any single question and just say, tell me everything about this like power. We were playing some kind of PvP thing that felt like World of Warcraft, but it was just PvP. It was like, you're queuing up, and I was sitting there having so much fun talking to the developers, and I was getting more and more skilled at the game because I was sitting there for an hour. And it was a local area network where they were just like, having people play each other where you can sit down. And after like 30 minutes go by, like I was just like crushing every single person that sat down because they didn't know how to play yet. So I was destroying them. And at some point, like the developer himself, he's like, I'm going to have to like get on there myself just to like, kill your character. Just like you're losing us like people. They're like, oh, this game isn't fun. I lost so much. So he sits down and, tries to, defeat me. And he does because, it's his
Sure.
But it's such a great one-on-one experience at these kind of things when you go into the indie section for like PAX East of those gamers and it's like the board gamers. It's an incredible world, and I love being a part of it.
I mean, sometimes you see like there was one couple that was showing off a game, and just forgive me, I forget the name of it, but they 3D printed their game to show it off. Like they 3D printed it at home, got all the components, and were like, this is our concept. This is the game. It was so simple, but it was like so beautifully loved. Like the best way I could explain it is like they loved this thing they created, and you're looking at it and you're like, what, like, hold on, this and obviously it wasn't like the finished product. They were trying to like get funding so that they were getting interest for a Kickstarter so that they could fund it, so that they could like get wooden pieces and everything. So, but you're looking at it and you're like, okay, if I didn't know better, which I didn't when I first started doing PAX, as I had mentioned before. Like when you walk by a booth and you see like one or two people, you're just like, okay, what are they? What's this game? You don't understand their passion yet until you talk to them. I stopped. I put my bag down because I did know better, and I asked them. I said, "Tell me about it. What is it? What are we doing?" And if you could see their entire essence change because you showed interest in this thing that they clearly love and they clearly want to see happen, and showing me all the mechanics, showing me how this works, showing me, oh, but this piece is the old color because this is how we want to do the new one. And it's all in the information over here. And they pointed me over to the pamphlet. I'm like, I got the pamphlet. I'm following your page. I already, like, as you're explaining the game, I'm already supporting you. Like I'm a sucker for that, but B, like if you are passionate about what you're doing and it doesn't feel like a sales pitch, it feels like you are just telling your friend about this cool game you found or this cool game that you really love. Like that is the ultimate sales pitch for me. Like just coming in and seeing somebody that cares so much about what they created, and can sit there and do that. And I think that was the same, very similar experience that we had when we met you, because we came into this booth and it was pretty chaotic. Like I remember it being very busy at the time that we showed up for whatever reason. I mean, for obvious reasons, but you know what I mean. And brought back into the back. And I know you explicitly were very busy when we started. And I remember you taking a minute because you heard us talking about it, and you came in real quick, dropped what you were doing. I think you were talking to someone, pitching somebody or something. And you came back and you just kind of squatted by and you told us about the game in like 2 minutes. And I remember you walked away and Matt and I looked at each other and were like, that's someone we need to get on the show. Like,
thanks.
And the show wasn't even like truly real yet. I mean, it was, but it wasn't like truly real, but we're making our list and making sure that we reach out and everything. And the fact that your Kickstarter is killing it right now is just a wonderful thing to see. I have my selection. I will be getting my tome of spells. I will be getting my cool mats, and I will be slinging spells all over my house. So that will be happening.
I appreciate that.
Very exciting for all of that. So before we go into our like little final segment where I hit you with some rapid fire questions, I actually think I'm going to switch from the rapid fire because I have a very specific question that I think might take you a little back and forth. Okay. But before we get into that, tell us about the future plans for That's Wizard, everything that you can tell us about the rest of the Kickstarter, any stretch goals or anything like that people could look forward to as the last 3 weeks of your campaign tick down.
Sure. Thank you so much. So I have a section on the Kickstarter that basically says it's pre-stretched, which is, what some developers are doing with stretch goals. And that's obviously because I've literally already manufactured the game and I use the highest quality components. So I just wanted to call it out there saying, like normally you kind of have to work your way up to get like, 310 GSM like cards with black core, the professional like Magic the Gathering, same quality as that. Well, I already did it, so. Hell yeah. You're welcome kind of thing. As far as future plans and, this Kickstarter is going really well. And I'm really excited because most of the product is manufactured already. It's not going to be a year before people get this product. It's going to, some people are going to be getting it at the end of November because it's made, right? So like in time for the holidays, that kind of thing.
In time for my birthday, in time for PAX Unplugged. I'm just saying.
Perfect. Yep. So that's big for us. We are going to PAX Unplugged. We're trying to make a really more interesting booth. So we wanted to make it feel like you're walking into like a wizard study and existing there until you go back out into PAX East. So hopefully you'll get to see that at PAX Unplugged.
What would I have to do to be a guest like mascot, like dress up as like an old man wizard to just get people to come sit and try the game?
I mean, I should pay you to do that.
I don't want to get paid. I don't want to get paid. I want to be there and I want to dress up like as Merlin. And I just want to, hello, welcome, come and play That's Wizard. I'll teach you everything you need to know about, I'll do it. I'll give you a whole hour of my life at Unplugged.
That sounds perfect.
I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll get the costume and everything. You give me the thumbs up and I'll do it. We'll talk offline. We'll talk offline. We'll talk offline.
Perfect.
So you have your pre-stretched goals. You're going to be at Unplugged. Tell me, you know what? I like to ask this question because you never know what response you're going to get. Obviously, there's always that like anticipation before a Kickstarter goes up. There's that little weird feeling in your tummy that, oh, what if it sucks? Like, what if nobody pays attention to me? Like, whatever.
Yeah.
Tell me what you felt in that 2 hours. When that 2 hours hit and you saw, because like, were you sitting there just watching it refresh over and over again? Did you like set it, walk away and just go, I'm not even going to think about it. I'm going to go get lunch and then we'll see where it's at.
You can't walk away when you press the launch button because there's a flood of like questions. A lot of people will follow your campaign. So like, the most sales happen on day one. And, even the first couple hours, it's chaotic of like getting messages through 3 different channels. You got Discord and Facebook and the comments on, Kickstarter. So you kind of have to be there ready to talk to people and, answer those kind of questions. A good friend of mine invited me to, do the launch at his house so that I wouldn't specifically be, just biting my nails at home and be like, oh, is it going to make it? Is it going to make it? So, all my friends, say from my board gaming group and my Dungeons and Dragons group, they all got together and they filtered in later after work and we had like a launch party. We played,
awesome.
some 4-player matches of That's Wizard while I would just regularly look over, check on things, answer questions and stuff like that. So it was an incredible day.
That's awesome.
I have to thank my friends a lot for being there for me because my friends and also like, the fans of this game, that's kind of what's helped me get through a 9-year development cycle because it's very easy to burn out on something that long. It's like, is this ever going to happen? And then tariffs come, you're like, oh, now it's definitely never going to happen. And it's been a long journey. So, thank you to everyone who supported me for getting me this far. But yeah, launch day was pretty incredible. We were very happy. We were counting down, it was, I took a picture on my phone. It was exactly 2 hours. It wasn't like 2 hours and 1 minute. It like turns at this same time that it ticked up. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing.
That's awesome.
For sure.
That's so incredible. Congratulations on that. And I'm very happy you have an incredible supportive system for all of that. That's not a lot of people have that, but the ones that do are very lucky to have it. All right. I have a very specific little game we could play here. I do admit that I saw this on a video. I'm going to try and find it just so I could give credit to where the question came from or where the little exercise came from. But it's let's list your top 5 wizards in fiction.
Ooh,
across all fiction. And there are some non-traditional answers to this. And so I want to give you one of mine here. I got to lower it because, okay, it is from Gabe Greenspan's TikTok. Him and his group of friends, they do like drafting. They like to draft characters or like it's usually D&D related. So this one was fictional D&D wizards draft. That was sort of like how they did that.
Okay. All right. Nice.
So my comment is there. So I don't want to spoil it, but for me, number 5 on my list is Eureka from Eureka's Castle. Excellent children's show. Don't know if you've heard of it, but it was on Nickelodeon. And it was a really cool like puppet show. And I love Eureka. The castle transforms and it has all this cute stuff. And there's a bat with glasses who keeps flying into walls because he's blind as a bat. And it's wonderful. But Eureka's Castle Eureka's one of my 5 wizards. So thinking in that way, and I have some really strange ones as well. Who's your number 5 on your fictional
I have
wizard?
Is this last? So first, I'm saving.
You could just do it however, but if you pick one, then I can't pick it. So,
okay.
All
right, I'm going to start with one that there's no way you can pick this. I think very few people will have heard of this. It's an audiobook series. I assume it's printed as well. The author is named J.S. Morin, and it is called Black Oceans Galaxy's Outlaws. Yeah, Black Oceans: Galaxy's Outlaws.
Interesting.
It's an 80-hour audiobook.
Okay.
And it is technically sci-fi, but in this particular setting, they use wizards in space. And
Hell yeah.
the like most people say it's the best character in the entire series. It's very well voiced as well. Mordecai the Brown is the character. That is one of my absolute favorite wizards, but I'm still gonna rank him low because I'm saving.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, because you don't want. Okay, I got it. I'm gonna stick with Space Wizard as my number 4, and I'm gonna go with Darth Vader.
Oh, that is
clearly a space wizard. Clearly a space wizard. That counts. Maybe not a good guy, but definitely a wizard. For sure. I think we're using force, we're using lightning, we're using mind manipulation, choking, air choking. I don't know is that just like I don't know, whatever. But yeah, Darth Vader, I think, is going to be my number 4. My next one is really wild. And then I have a couple of I have one like obscure one, and then obviously the traditional. But I might have to call an audible if you take this one. So, all right, give me your next one.
Okay. I think I'll only pick one from like the Harry Potter universe.
Okay.
And it's a tough choice because they're literally all wizards. So any of your favorite characters would qualify. But I'm gonna go with Minerva McGonagall.
Okay. Yeah, I could see that. I really just like the arc of Snape like a lot. Like I like I just think that the performance was wonderful. I was not a book Harry Potter book kid. Like it just never got me. I think I was a little bit too old like for me to be obsessed with it. But I saw the movies and everything like that. So like a lot of my knowledge comes from the movies, unfortunately, but I just love that character. But that's not a character that I'm picking though. But I want to know why you're picking McGonagall.
So like as I did read the books, kind of as they come out, like I was there for
you were online
release. Yeah. Yep. And I would have said Dumbledore, but like there's so many things that like it's just I don't know, he's such a manipulator and stuff like that. And then so McGonagall was my second favorite because mostly of her specialty of magic and the fact that like she's an animagus who can like turn into a cat, which she's underrated. And then she did take that headmaster's position in the later book and stuff like that. So
yeah, that's admirable. My next choice, I don't think you're gonna get this one. Pee Wee Herman.
Is it really?
I mean, come on. He's got this like imaginary play place. He's animating every piece of furniture in his house. He's got a talking dresser, like a talking couch. He's going to fantasy. He's got a flying bicycle, like or whatever. He's got all kinds of stuff going on in his playhouse. That's definitely like a wizard's domain that he is living in and controlling. Definitely some sort of illusionist and abjurer wizard, possibly. But yeah, he's definitely a wizard. He's more of a wizard, and like a Mr. Rogers is more of a bard. But if if you're putting them side by side, I think there's no way you could argue against that he's a wizard.
That is quite fair.
That's a pull.
When you put it that way,
I mean, just look at what he's doing. He's a weird little guy alone. Loves when a guest comes over to hang out. Just gets real excited. Gets into trouble with the magic. I mean, think about his mission that he went on just to get his bicycle back. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, if that's not a wizard's quest, I don't know what is.
I love it. I guess we're not gonna have too many crossovers. I think.
I mean, there's one obvious one. It's my last one, and I put it last because I figure it's gonna be taken, and then I'll just pull an audible. But we'll see. All right, hit us up. What do you got next?
I know 1 and 2. I'm on 3 now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Guess I'm gonna go with Gandalf,
Yeah,
which I
yeah.
think is.
Okay. Gandalf, the white or the gray?
I like the gray. Yeah, like the white is like when he's in serious business mode, and it's a little bit less. My favorite part of the movies, I will rewatch the beginning of the first movie where they're just in the Shire and it's all
Yeah,
cozy and like
yeah, yeah,
it's all that. So that's my favorite part. And when Gandalf falls, in Khazad-dûm and defeats the Balrog, that is incredibly epic. And like
yeah.
I remember what so this is gonna destroy my nerd cred, but I actually hadn't read Lord of the Rings. I saw the movies, so everything
Hmm.
was like shockingly new to me.
Yeah.
So when he fell in and we walked out of that movie, I'm like, "Are
What
you
the hell?
serious?"
Yeah,
Like,
what the hell?
what?
I was so I didn't read the books either before I saw the movies, but I read The Hobbit. So
Mm,
I was required reading in high school for some reason. But I loved it and I thought it was awesome. So The Lord of the Rings, my buddy had given me like really old books and I just couldn't get into like I just for some reason that version of the books was just off-putting to me. Like I like it was soft cover. I don't like reading soft cover books. I like a hardcover, whatever. Anyway,
sure,
so I was
yeah.
just like, whatever. So the movie came out and I remember going to see it and I was like, holy shit. Like when the next one has
Right?
to come out like now, like I need it now. So it became a tradition. Me and the same group of friends, we went and saw all three movies. Absolutely loved them. What I did later, I read the books, and I even read the Silmarillion. I had a like second edition, like American copy of the Silmarillion that I stole from my high school library. I wound up selling it
That's
later
nerd
on.
cred right there.
I
If
wound
you've
up,
read the
I
Silmarillion.
did. It's hard to read, but like there are some,
Yep.
like now I go back and I'm like, is that right? Is that what I remember happening? So apparently like the whole white or gray to white was like the god, like one of the gods of
Yeah.
Tolkien's universe, like brought him back
Reincarnated him. Yep.
reincarnated. Like I had, like, you don't have that. If you don't have that context going in, you're like, why isn't he just like, why can't he remember shit? Like what's going on? Like, why can't,
Right, yeah.
why don't you remember any of that stuff? Why you act so weird?
Yep.
But he's literally an angel because his whole arc is when he completes his arc, he's gone. Like he just disappears. He was put
Yeah.
back to do a certain thing, whatever that certain thing is. I don't remember exactly like what happens, but I think he lives for like another 300 years or something like that after whatever. But anyway, great poll. That was my last one. So I'm going to have to pull an audible on that. But my next one is Miracle Max from The Princess Bride.
Okay.
I'm going to say he's probably more of like a druid healer, maybe type wizard. But Billy Crystal, love me some Billy Crystal, and hilarious little wizard. And he brought someone back from almost death, which I think
Almost death. Yeah.
that's a big deal. That's a big deal.
It is. Yeah.
And of course he makes miracles. So any wizard that could do miracles in a world that is full of peril and ROUSs and giants and things like that, I think deserves to be on anyone's list. I love me some Miracle Max. I wish we had more of Miracle
Absolutely.
Max. We need a Miracle Max spinoff, I think.
A spin-off, I would watch it.
Billy Crystal needs a lot less prosthetics now to pull off that look, but I
Yeah.
think we could get it done. I think
There we
we
go.
could get it
It's the right time.
done. for sure. Hit that nostalgia train. But boy, I have to make an audible here at my last pick. So let's see if I have to change it up. What do you got for your next one?
So I've got two left here. So this is also a stretch as far as a wizard, but I think that's the direction we're going in. So another favorite book of mine, Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. The main character, Wade Watts. I'm gonna count him as a wizard. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that you can do in the Oasis that's just straight up magic, and he levels his character up, in the MMO sort of way.
Yeah,
That's
quite
described in the
literally.
book.
Yeah.
Yep, he's got tons of spells, incredible stuff, and that story really drew me in. The audiobook, I think it's read by Will Wheaton, which again, that like Will Wheaton was one of the reasons why I got into tabletop, like many of us, and so I just like it felt very homey to me, and I love that character.
That's a good one. It's smart. I think I'm going to go kind of easy on this, but I'm going to go with a very specific version of this classic wizard. I love the dark ages of Disney. like the years where the movies just did so bad, and like almost bankrupt the company as a whole. But I'm gonna go with Merlin from the Sword in the Stone animated movie, because he's a little goofball, but every lesson he teaches young Arthur is so poignant and so wonderful, and like it really has that like father-son relationship thing going. And he, it's Merlin, so he's got like a huge deep grasp of whatever magics he's doing, right? But I feel like that character in that movie specifically is playing the bumbling idiot because he's in front of who he knows is the rightful heir to the throne. And
okay, I like that take. Yeah,
and he won't belittle the king. He won't make the king feel less than his Merlin. And I think that's very admirable for that version of Merlin. So yeah, I think the singing, dancing Merlin with this big old blue pointy hat is going to be my final pull. So who do you got as your final pull? Who's rounding out your team of wizards here?
Well, I got to say Merlin was good to save for number one. The titular wizard right there. That's incredible. I've read a lot of adaptations. Growing up, one of my favorite series was like The Crystal Cave by Mary Stewart, I believe it is.
I think, I've heard of that. Yeah.
It takes like a more historical take on Merlin, but like the magic when it is there is very profound. And really fun. So my final wizard, also from a book series. This one is called The First Law. It's by Joe Abercrombie. He is known as the master of the grim dark fantasy genre, where all characters are kind of gray, and it's like even the good guys are kind of like, a little bit reprehensible.
Yeah, sure.
And the main character is Lord Baez, named for the first letter of the alphabet, Baez, in their world. And the entire book, I don't want spoilers to be too much here, but you read the book and you think of him at times like a grandfatherly like wizard who's like mentoring people. And then at the end of the book, Joe Abercrombie lives up to his name of creating these dark, morally gray characters where like you realize exactly, what Baez has done and what he's all about. And you're like, oh,
we're changing. Okay. I like that.
It's incredible. In that particular series, all the wizards kind of have a specialty, and they call it high arts. They study one particular thing that they're just really learned about, and his is fire and like force, so he can like telekinetically control things, and also just like snap his fingers and burn somebody to a cinder.
Yikes!
It's incredible magic.
What does that say about cost? What does that say about the person, if that's what you choose as your schools? Speaking of, that's the last question I want to hit before we leave. What is the best school of magic?
In That's Wizard?
Just in wizardry in general.
Yeah. I took a lot of inspiration from different card games and book series when I was creating all the spells. Personally, I think that either time magic or mind magic are probably going to be the best. Mind is probably almost similar to time, where it's like if you read their thoughts, you know what they're about to do. And if you got like, Professor X level Omega mutant powers, you're just like, no, you don't do that. I mind control you. And mind control is also in That's Wizard, so that's in there as well.
Hell yeah.
Haven't made a chronomancy school of magic yet, so maybe that's on the to-do.
I would love that. That was my school. That was my school when I played a wizard in D&D. I love me some chronergy.
Yeah,
I love me some, tomfoolery with DM's nightmare. It's honestly a DM's nightmare. Just like, I do that. No, you don't. Try again.
Yeah.
Dang it. But
DM has to pause after every roll. Be like, do you want to like fudge this somehow? I know you can.
My DM, when I was playing that, also in his infinite wisdom, gave me items that also gave me time manipulation magic. Like I had a pendant that allowed me to like re-roll or add roll or I think it was re-roll saves like once or twice a day. It would like I could expend that use, and like it was an evolving magic item, so it got like more powerful, so I could do more things with it. It was just he was a glutton for punishment. I don't want to hear anything about silvery barbs when you're giving me items like that I can just undo shit whenever I feel like it.
The number of times I heard silvery barbs in my campaign, oh goodness.
Not yet so far. In all 4 of my campaigns, I have not had a silvery barbs come up, but well I don't have it. Do I have anybody that could cast silvery barbs? I have a cleric. Do they get silvery barbs? I don't think they do.
I think there's an origin feat that anyone can get silvery barbs.
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Don't give my players any ideas. Anyway, that's going to bring us to the end of the show. This was an absolute pleasure hanging out with you, Wisardly. Is there anything you want to tell people before they go? How can they follow you? We'll have the Kickstarter link in the show description, so you don't have to go and search for that. But how can everybody find That's Wizard on the internet otherwise?
Yeah, that'swizard.com will get you to our really cool deck builder, which you can check out all the cards in the game. There's links at the bottom for Facebook and Discord, so come hang out, cast some spells with us.
Hell yeah. Well, thank you so much for doing this. It was an absolute pleasure. Good luck with the rest of your campaign. I can't wait to see it continue to go up, 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 and up. I hope you get 10 times your goal. I think that would be incredible if you hit that. Thank you, listeners. Thank you, viewers. Go check out That's Wizard. Go to Kickstarter. Go to the link below and go support awesome indie creators. And as always, please be excellent to each other.